The first deposit we visited was the Mponeng mine, mining the Witwatersrand. At the mine, the group split off into two groups. One stayed on the surface to look at a number of drill holes, while the majority of the group went underground to 3.2 kilometers depth in the mine, where we visited where they were actively mining the vendor store contact reef. Where we saw the reef, it was about 80 centimeters thick, but there's no videotape of that due to lighting conditions underground. When we went back onto the surface, the group met up and we briefly looked at the core before leaving.
Hi, we're on the SEG student chapter field trip to South Africa and Botswana, and this is our first mine visit. We're at the core shed of Anglo Gold Ashanti, their exploration office for the Wits Basin, and we've been having a look at some drill core from the Carbon Leader Reef and from the Vale Reef. And I'll just pass over now to Rob Burnett, the manager for geoscience with Anglo Gold Ashanti, just to give you a brief outline on some of the core we've been looking at. Over to you, Rob.
Hi, what I'd like to show you is just the internal subunits of the Carbon Leader Reef. If you can just show you here on the core itself. What we have here between my two fingers is the actual conglomerate, the Carbon Leader Reef, in this case number 1 facies. Below it here is the footwall quartzite, this brown khaki argillaceous quartzite. Then above it is the hanging wall quartzite, which is the blue-grey silicious quartzite. Immediately above that hanging wall quartzite, we have the green bar shale, which is this horizon here. The bottom contact always has this sheared, laminated contact, where the remainder of the shale is this massive, pretty uniform siltstone. Okay.
Thanks a lot, Rob. That's we've been looking at about 6 drill holes here that go through this sequence. Also, the other upper unit, the VCR reef, and then we've also been showing the Vale Reef. As you all know, there's been a controversy for over 100 years on the origin of the gold in the Witwatersrand reefs. I've been fortunate enough to work with Anglo and Rob over the last 3 years, looking at pyrite chemistry and morphology and how the gold relates to that. It's been very exciting research, but it's one of those examples of you can never find something new. When there's been 100 years of research on such a fabulous ore deposit, it's certainly difficult to come up with a new piece of evidence to help win the argument. But it's been exciting. The other part of our group has been underground at Mponeng, and we'll catch up with them in another half hour and we'll give you a bit of a taste of what they thought about the underground. Thanks a lot.
Lowest grade, we should obviously have lost some of the grade with that.
What is this rice pebble stuff? What is that?
It's just a sort of a grit quartzite with grit in it. It's a sort of blue opalescent quartz in it.
Okay, yeah. So there's not much carbon in the carbon layer here.
No.
Where there is more carbon in it, is it more goldish?
Yes, definitely. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
As Morris said, yes, so, on Driefontein and that, when they first started sampling there, I mean, mining there, and so they were running at average grades of 2 ounces a ton. You know, at this, you know, like serious in the sort where.
That's the one there's nothing left. Isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a shame.
This is some of the typical pyrite that you get in the carbon leader. You can see the pyrite surrounding the quartz pebbles, the dark and white quartz pebbles. This pyrite is, under the microscope, is very rounded and typically detrital pyrite that's been concentrated on within these channel deposits with gold and uraninite.
Different areas. In Clarksdorp there's a lot more sand, so you got a lot of sandful channels within the Clarksdorp area. You might have a sort of up to 50 centimeter, 60 centimeter conglomerate at the base. And what the difference is also is that we actually get polymictic VCR channels in the Clarksdorp area as well. So you don't just have that nice polymictic coarse pebble conglomerates. And this is an nice example of the sandful channel, where you've got very minor conglomerates compared to what you would normally see for typical VCR, minor VCR, and up to sort of the whole package up to 4.5, sometimes 4.5 meters thick, and with lots of sand, nice clean sand on the top, and then you've got these small, sort of almost poorly developed conglomerates scattered throughout the sequence. So it's pretty much the main difference.
You've got a grade going.
Not very good, to be honest with you. Over the entire, a good value over the entire package will probably give you 1,500 centimeter grams per ton. Over 4 meters, so it's pretty low grade. It's, in terms of just grams per ton value, it's pretty low. With the main mine where they did actually mine VCR in Clarksdorp, Taulekwa mine, which used to belong to Anglo, but we sold it about 2 years ago. That's had better values, had nice pay sheets coming through, and they were running at sort of 1,000 to 1,500 centimeter grams per ton over 1.5 meters, sort of sloping with utilise
Fairly typical of the
from other
pyrite in layers within the Vale Reef.
You guys ready to go?
And it does change, so the polymetric channel is generally towards base, and then above that you'll have a very dirty matrix, quite coarse and gritty, and then it will very quickly change. You can see over there it changes very quickly from a coarser, more dirty matrix to a cleaner matrix, and then you suddenly got these sort of oligomictic grits and with a lot more sulfide mineralization. Polymetric channel is generally very low.
No.
Yeah.
One thing that very little work has been done on is the provenance, or the source area for the clasts.
Pretty classic VCR. Then VCR, robust, large pebble conglomerates, nice rounded pebbles. The interesting thing is, you notice about this section is the green alteration in portion of the matrix, and it's quite unique. With the green cap VCR, it's one of the best.
Yeah, you can't get too close from that angle.
It's amazing the amount of chromium that's giving that green coloration. Where do you think chromium comes from? Yeah, it's chrome that substitutes into this. Yeah.
So it is full site.
Yeah.
So that's known from chemistry.
That's known.
So there is chrome.
Sitting right below a bunch of basalts, so there's this sources probably that are going through both.
Yeah, that sounds pretty logical. The shales lower in the Witwatersrand Basin are also very chrome rich.
Okay.
The whole of the basin's anomalous in chrome, which may give us a clue to where where the source areas are in terms of them being
Do you want some more?
dominantly ultramafic.
Gibraltar, actually.
That question, eh?
This is another example of this.
I'd say that this would have the higher.
What is that?
Just because of the outside alteration and sort of more chloride rich. The other interesting thing, before they sunk the Mponeng shaft, they drilled a surface hole down and went through the dolomites, and they intersected some lead zinc mineralization, actually zinc lead. 9% zinc over 9 meters. So you've got a whole zinc deposit sitting above a gold mine. And if you just look at this core behind you here, that's in the top of the dolomite. You can see all the weathered sulfide.